Whoa. And why would the U.S. Treasury Secretary have a press conference in Japan? It wasn't geared for the U.S. population, U.S. domestic. It was geared for the Japanese population, saying that we have every confidence in their abilities to stabilize their financial situation and put them on a good footing going forward, which is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Their debt is greater than ours, according to GDP, if memory serves me right. It's because Japan is the world's largest holder of U.S. treasuries. China used to be, but they've been selling them down. So Japan's it. And also China's not buying anymore. You know, President Trump and all those CEOs went over to China, make it sound like, he's going over there, No, he's going with cup in hand. They're looking for deals. Those CEOs and all them companies want to try having contracts with China, because we're fucked. The Supreme Court overturned all those tariffs. Trump is depending on that, depending on a lot of things. You always want to continuously try to fill the pipe, because he's trying to dig out. And I understand that. I understand. He didn't create all this, although he is a big spender. This has been gaining steam for a long time. Well, none of that worked. And the war of choice with Iran, everybody's, I simply point out the hazards in which, you're going to venture into. I'm not a sycophant. I don't sit there and this team and that team and my team, I'm with my team, and right or wrong, whatever. No, I'm going to talk you out of trying to, before you make a fool of yourself, or you decide, what a good friend would do. I would point out the negatives of your unthought out venture, and that's what I tried to do here. And just saw a couple of days ago, inflation's going up. I don't think anybody had to tell you that. I mean, you can see it for yourself. And Trump, and I'm going to say this because this is all Trump's big thing. He just needs to keep his mouth shut. Quit making these big claims and shit, because it's just going to make people's animosity will grow as it affects them personally, especially when you're saying everything's great. That's no. Best policy is to be truthful. That way, when the realities of the situation are in your face and you can't deny it, there can't be animosity because I told you so, But here we are. What was it, Senator Kelly, former astronaut? I don't follow him that much, but the reason why they're, DOJ, or excuse me, DOD, was going after him, trying to get his pension, because he may, I think he did, but let loose with stuff that was supposed to be behind closed doors. Stuff I've been saying the whole time, that our standoff weapons are flashing danger, low. Now, do we have unlimited iron bombs? Yeah. But to do that, you have to fly over target. That don't work. So like your Tomahawks, U.S. only makes 600 of those a year. PAC-3s, your Iron Dome missiles, the missiles that were supposed to save all our military bases over there, they're gone. I mean, gone. And we were stripping them from other countries, I said this in the beginning. I said it some time ago. You're going to see a deflate. The worst thing to do, if you're top dog, at least in the sphere of the people you're interacting with, the belief that you are, worst thing to do is fully commit yourself in something, get caught up, not being, writing checks you can't cash, then on display for the whole world to see. Now, do we have nuclear weapons? Sure. So does Russia, so does China, so does India, so does Pakistan. You get what I'm going? You know, we can't just nuke our way, you know, if we don't agree with somebody. Now, we need to change. See, the whole problem of it is the ones that make policy in our states are neocon. Never seen a war they didn't like because it fuels the whole military industrial complex and all the things that feeds. You know, that's why Congress and senators, each state of theirs has a little piece of the pie, you know. Wheels for, or landing gear for certain aircraft, or range of aircraft are made in Kentucky, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So it's within their interest to keep jobs and stuff like that. It was I understand the policy back then to do that, saturate it, so you can get your thing across, but it's going to kill us. It's going to kill us. We can't maintain this. Well, you know, and you know, it's called mission creep. You're not going to notice it right off. It's a slow process until you feel the result of it. You know, just like we were the biggest oil producer in the world, but yet you've seen the pump price. Boiled down, the U.S. is a net importer of oil, and that has to do with trade agreements with other countries and stuff. We send out, there's no way out of this. In the old days, in business, and Trump was supposed to be a business person, it's better to make profits by increasing your business, right? Remember when he met the EU, van der Laan, oh, I can't remember offhand. It's a long day. Enforced, you know, was it a year ago? Less than a year ago, forced him into a trade agreement that was beneficial to us, but not beneficial to Europe. Remember, it was in Scotland, I think, or whatever. Well, you know, Trump's threatened, you know, because the countries in the EU haven't ratified that deal. It hasn't come through. You know, Trump's saying all these things about all these deals. He's got trillions and trillions. None of that shit's been finalized. You know, they're saying, you know, we're going to invest umpteen trillions and trillions, but they drag their feet until he's out of office and never really come through with it. All these things, it's signs of desperation. You know, you got to look at it for what it is, not what you want it to be. It's going to affect everybody. Now, if we're going to switch to a war economy, really think about it. You know, we are not the country. You know, America. Yeah, I get that. But what is America? America is the people that inhabit it, other than, you know, the geographical location. You know, the land. We are not the people we were 30 years ago, 50 years ago, so on. You get it? You know, people that, you know, believed in self-sacrifice back then. Now, you only got people that want to work. You want to see a cross-section in America, go to Walmart. You know, nobody wants to work, or if they do go to work, you know, they want to be patted on the head that they showed up. Are you going to have, you know, Rosie the Riveter? Going to be baby mama, you know, with 4 or 5 kids? It's not going to happen. So we need to rethink instead of antagonizing, which, I mean, it's a little late now because we've been threatening. We're going to threaten everybody. And I mean, it's no secret. The secret is out, dear friends. You know, you're going to feel it, and it's going to be like frog in the hot water. If you're young people, they have no history to fall back on to compare to. There's no changing course. It's just how it's going to go.